Hi, I'm Sophia Mitchell, a 28-year-old pastry chef who's built her dream bakery from scratch. Life was as sweet as my cakes until I got engaged to Michael Thompson. That's when everything turned sour, thanks to his mother, Barbara. From the very beginning, Barbara made her presence known. "Darling, you really should use less vanilla in your recipes," she said during her first visit to my bakery, as if she were some sort of expert. "Customers these days prefer a more sophisticated taste." I was elbow deep in wedding cake batter at the time, trying to hold back my frustration. Her critique of my award-winning recipe was unwelcome, but I managed a polite smile. "Your cakes are lovely, dear, but they lack that special Thompson family touch," she added with a condescending tilt of her head. "My recipes have won 3 local baking competitions," I replied, keeping my voice steady. "Oh, how cute," she said. "I remember when I ran my restaurant, before I sold it, of course." What she didn't mention was that her restaurant hadn't been sold, it had been shut down. I wouldn't learn that little detail until much later. Things escalated when my best friend and business partner, Lisa, rushed into the bakery one afternoon, breathless with gossip. "Sophia, you won't believe what Barbara's sister Jennifer just told me. Barbara's been telling everyone at the country club that your bakery uses box mixes." "She what?" I sputtered. "Just ignore her. My brother Tom advised over lunch that week. But as your lawyer, and your brother, I'm telling you, there's something off about that woman." Tom wasn't wrong. Wedding planning turned into a battlefield. "The reception must be at the Windsor Hotel," Barbara declared during a planning meeting. "But Michael and I already chose the garden venue," I countered. "The Windsor has history." "Robert, tell her about the history," Barbara snapped, turning to Michael's father. Robert mumbled something incoherent into his coffee cup, looking like he wanted to disappear. "The garden venue is perfect for us, Mom," Michael said, though his voice lacked conviction. Then came the cake drama. I was in my kitchen, sketching the design for my dream wedding cake, when Barbara barged in with her sister Jennifer in tow. "Here it is, the Thompson family cake recipe," Barbara announced, thrusting a yellowed piece of paper at me. "5 generations of brides have used it." "Thank you, Barbara, but I've already designed our cake." "But it's tradition," Jennifer chimed in. "Every Thompson bride." "I'm a professional baker," I interrupted, holding my ground. "I'll be making my own wedding cake." "Michael won't be pleased," Barbara said, her smile as sharp as a knife. "He grew up expecting his bride to honor our traditions." "He'll love it," I said firmly. "He loves my baking." "We'll see about that, won't we?" she said, her smile never reaching her eyes. Little did I know, refusing that recipe was just the beginning. Barbara's interference soon took a darker turn, one I never could have imagined. It happened so fast. I felt her hands on my back, and then suddenly I was falling. My body twisted instinctively, trying to protect the wedding cake I was carrying. The stairs felt endless. Pain shot through my wrist like fire, and the world spun wildly around me. The emergency room was a blur of lights and questions. Michael arrived eventually, but instead of concern, his face showed something closer to annoyance. "Mom says you were being careless on the stairs," he said. "Careless? She pushed me," I cried. "Sophia, come on. Mom wouldn't do that." "Why would she?" "Because I wouldn't use her recipe, because I wouldn't let her control everything." "You're being dramatic. It was probably just an accident." The doctor interrupted with my diagnosis: a concussion, a sprained wrist, and bruised ribs. "The wedding will have to be postponed," I said, fighting back tears. And so my nightmare with Barbara Thompson continued. But this wasn't the end of her attempts to ruin my life. It was only the beginning. "But Mom's already called all the guests. Do you know how this makes us look? How it makes you look?" Michael's voice grated against my raw nerves as I lay in the hospital bed, bruised and battered. "She's worried people will blame her," he added. "They should blame her. She pushed me, Michael." He sighed, rubbing his temples like I was the one being unreasonable. "I think the pain meds are messing with your head. Mom would never." "Get out," I snapped, my voice trembling with fury. "Get out of my hospital room. Now." He hesitated, looking as though he wanted to argue, but my glare must have convinced him otherwise. As the door slammed shut behind him, Lisa appeared, her face pale but determined. "Sophia," she said, holding up her phone. "You need to see this." Lisa had been helping set up cameras at the wedding venue. What she'd uncovered made my blood run cold. The security footage showed everything. Barbara Thompson deliberately pushing me down the stairs. Watching the video, my heart broke, not just from the betrayal, but from what it confirmed. Michael, the man I was supposed to marry the next day, would never choose me over his mother's lies. The hospital released me the next morning, but I hadn't even made it home before Michael started blowing up my phone. "You need to fix this," he demanded. "Mom's devastated that you're accusing her." "I'm not discussing this," I replied coldly. "We're done. You can't just end things over a misunderstanding." I hung up and called my brother instead. "Tom, I need your legal expertise." "Already on it," he said. "Lisa sent me the security footage. But Sophia, there's more you need to know." At Tom's office, he handed me a thick folder. "Barbara Thompson has a history," he said grimly. 3 former employees filed complaints about physical intimidation. All were mysteriously dropped, and the health department didn't shut down her restaurant for basic violations, like she claimed. Lisa chimed in. "They shut it down because a waitress was pushed down the kitchen stairs." "Sound familiar?" Tom clicked through his computer. "And get this, your bakery's recent bad reviews? All traced back to IP addresses matching Barbara's home and country club." My phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer, Barbara's sister. "Pace meeting at your bakery. Please come." When I arrived, Jennifer paced my office, wringing her hands. "You don't understand, Sophia," she began. "Barbara just wants what's best for the family business." "Family business?" I asked, crossing my arms. "Well, once you married Michael, she'd naturally take over managing your bakery. You'd be too busy with babies anyway." Jennifer froze, realizing her mistake. "Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that part." My jaw dropped. She wasn't just trying to ruin me, she was planning to steal my livelihood. "Not steal," Jennifer stammered. "Just guide. Like she did with that lovely Vietnamese restaurant before yours. They were struggling anyway." "What Vietnamese restaurant?" I demanded. More digging revealed the truth. The restaurant that used to occupy my bakery's location had been systematically destroyed by Barbara. She'd ruined their reputation, then swooped in to buy the space for pennies. The next day, Lisa led me to a coffee shop where 3 women were waiting. "I'm Helen," one said. "Barbara was my mother-in-law too. For 6 months. "Margaret," said another. "She got my catering business blacklisted in 2019. "Kim," the third added. "My family owned the Vietnamese restaurant." Story after story poured out. Barbara's pattern was clear. Target successful women-owned businesses, destroy them, then take over. "She's been doing this for years," Helen said. "But we were all too scared or ashamed to speak up." "Not anymore," I said, pulling out my phone. "I have security footage, Jennifer's confession, and now your stories. Let's stop her." Kim nodded. "Count me in." I kept all the threatening emails. "Me too," Margaret added, and photos of the accidents at my venues. Looking around the table at these strong women, I realized something. Barbara had tried to destroy me. Instead, she created an army. The phone call that changed everything came on a Tuesday. The Maxwell Jones wedding. The coordinator began, her voice brimming with excitement. "The biggest social event of the season. We want you to cater it." "Are you sure?" I asked. I heard Barbara Thompson was handling the catering. After what happened at the country club, not a chance. Word had spread fast. The security footage of my fall leaked online, and soon former employees and business owners came forward with their own stories. Lisa burst into the kitchen one day, waving her phone. "Did you see the food critics' review?" she asked, grinning. The headline read, "Rising Phoenix Bakery, Tradition Meets Innovation." Below it was a scathing expose of Barbara's so-called traditional recipes, all stolen from the cooks she bullied. Karma came for Barbara in waves. Jennifer's social circle turned on her, disgusted by her complicity. Barbara's schemes unraveled, and her once untouchable reputation was left in ruins. And me? I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. Barbara thought she could destroy me. Instead, she made me unstoppable. Michael's restaurant closed before it even opened. No suppliers were willing to work with the Thompson name. Meanwhile, the sweetest moment of poetic justice came when I catered Jennifer's daughter's high-profile wedding. "The cake is exquisite," the bride gushed. "I can't believe Aunt Barbara tried to stop me from hiring you." "Your aunt isn't causing trouble about being uninvited, is she?" I asked. Please, he said, rolling her eyes. After what she did to you and those other women, she's lucky we still acknowledge her at Christmas. Word on the grapevine was that Michael was now working late shifts at a diner. The Thompson family money dried up after Barbara's victims filed lawsuits against her. Last week, I opened my second bakery location, complete with a ribbon-cutting ceremony that made the local news. When a reporter asked me about Barbara, I simply smiled. I'm focused on the future, I said. Some people build themselves up by tearing others down. I build myself up by building amazing cakes. As I was cleaning up after the event, my phone buzzed. A text from Lisa. Barbara just got denied membership at her 4th country club this month. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Success is the best revenge, and my success was written in buttercream, validated by awards, and measured in the lines of customers waiting for my innovative takes on traditional recipes. They say living well is the best revenge, but living well while your enemies watch their empire crumble. That's even better. What would you do if your mother-in-law pushed you down the stairs and your fiancé chose to defend her? Would you expose toxic family members, even if it meant destroying their reputation? Or would you quietly walk away? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you'd handle a situation like this. If you enjoyed this story of standing up to toxic family dynamics and serving a dish of well-deserved justice, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. Your support helps me share more real-life tales of resilience and empowerment.